and welcome to Trade Finance Talks. My name is Dipesh Patel, editor at Trade Finance Global. Today we're at the IFC Global Trade Partners meeting in Barcelona, and just a few hours ago, IFC launched their Banking on Women Who Trade Across Borders white paper. I'm here with Nathalie Louat, Global Director for Trade and Supply Chain Finance at IFC, who's going to help us break down this great white paper a bit more. Nathalie, welcome.
Thank you, Deepak.
So, Nathalie, quick introduction. Who are you, where are you from, and what do you do?
Great. Hi, I'm Nathalie Louat. I'm Director for Trade and Supply Chain Finance at IFC. IFC is part of the World Bank Group.
So, Nathalie, what spurred IFC to create this Banking on Women Who Trade Across Borders white paper?
So, IFC has been active in financing businesses led by women for 15 years. And we financed 4.5 billion of US dollars of loans to these businesses. And then on the other side, we have a very large trade program, which is aiming at reducing the trade finance gap. And we have, over the years, done 100 billion of financing for trade under our global trade finance program. So at some point, we put our heads together and thought that we should focus on supporting more women-led exporters and importers. And that's where the idea of this program was launched. When we looked after 5 years how far we had gone, we found that we had financed $260 million of those transactions, which is a good number. But in light of the 40 billion that we did globally for this same product, we felt it was very small and tried to research why would that be? Why would us, IFC not be able to reach more women-led businesses? And we looked for research. We couldn't find much. We find a lot of research on why trade finance is important for trade. We find lots of research on why it is important to support SMEs specifically, but there was no research on women-led businesses.
Thank you very much. So, Nathalie, the white paper starts by talking about some of the barriers that disproportionately impact women that trade, including cultural barriers, lack of financial literacy, and it creates that perception that women are high risk when it comes to trade. What were some of the most important barriers from your perspective that really came across in the white paper?
So the barriers are on both sides. Demand and supply. So from the FI institutions in general, there is a perception of higher risk for women-led businesses. This may be connected to the fact that they have little credit history. They are sometimes younger businesses than the average, and there is not a good knowledge of the specific characteristics of these businesses. On the demand side, from the companies who are looking for financing, there is very little finance literacy, as you mentioned, and less knowledge of the trade products in particular. So we worked on both angles, trying to bridge that gap.
Thank you very much. I guess cultural characteristics are not the only barrier to accessing finance. Trade finance also has quite some structural barriers that prevent women from joining the industry. And I think in the white paper it stated that the absence of collateral is identified by 90% of commercial bank respondents as the primary reason for rejecting trade finance applications. So given this lack of collateral, are there any steps that we can eliminate or lower some of these requirements around collateral requirements?
So the lack of collateral is a problem in general for SMEs who are trying to access financing. But we find that the women businesses lack the assets to provide as collateral. And they also have less financial experience and a smaller network. So trade finance is complex. It requires a lot of documentation, and it's a little distracting for women to have to focus on these administrative aspects when they're looking to grow their business. So it is necessary for the FIs to come up with specific solutions to look out for these women and help them develop their business. For governments, it is important to enable collateral registry. It is important to grow credit bureaus, invoice registration, to make sure that the documentation is there to show the financial institution that the risk of these women-led businesses are not as high. We also are very confident that digitalization will help women businesses because it will simplify the bureaucratic workload.
Nathalie, the white paper draws on several case studies. I'd like to draw on one of them, specifically Vietnam. Can you talk a little bit more about this case study?
Great. We think the experience in Vietnam really shows the potential opportunity, because in Vietnam, it is clear that once we got the government and the private sector to collaborate, the banks were able to pick up on those commercially attractive opportunities and work on focusing on these segments to increase access to trade finance for women-led enterprises. And what we have seen is that the women, in turn, are able to take advantage of these opportunities and really grow their business. To give you an idea, 70% of the activities that we've done in this business segment is in Vietnam.
Nathalie, why is blended finance a new and unique approach? And what does this solution offer that is lacking in traditional approaches?
The advantage of blended finance allows us to mix our commercial products with an incentive for the banks to look for these women-led businesses and to support them. So it's a way to really catalyze the interest of all to support these businesses.
So, first of all, financial institutions and banks, what are the key recommendations?
So we would like the FIs, the banks more specifically, to focus on facilitating access to credit for women-led businesses. We want them to consider a variety of payment options. We want them to offer the variety of trade solutions that they can to these women-owned businesses. We think that with more credit bureaus, more collateral registries, they will be able to provide financing with less need for formal collateral, which these women often don't have access to.
Thank you. And then recommendations for multilateral banks.
So multilateral banks need to support these businesses to enhance the financial literacy. And they need to make complex products better known by these banks. We also think that there is the possibility of increasing blended finance to support more. Our program is sponsored by Goldman Sachs, and we welcome others' participation to our programs. Thank you.
Nathalie, thank you very much. That was Nathalie Louat, Global Head of Trade and Supply Chain Finance at IFC. And here we are today at the IFC Global Trade Partners meeting at Barcelona, whilst IFC have launched their brand new white paper, Banking on Women Who Trade Across Borders.